Good evening. I just finished building the TTL 3.575 oscillator, and I just realized that I need to worry about dummy loads. This is the simplest dummy load there is, but it only works on a very, very low power. This is actually an old ArcNet terminator, which is 50 ohms, and it will work perfect as a terminator for this. It's very low power, but this circuit is very low power. So that's option number one. I can use these little ones for the test oscillators that I've been doing, and they work fine. What if I were to take this oscillator, which is very simple, place a buffer in front of it, and then place a power stage in front of that? I'm going to have a little bit more power, maybe a watt or 2, 3, maybe even 5. So what would I use out here? Well, there's a couple of options for that. For that, I actually bought two things from DigiKey. I bought a 51 ohm resistor, 2 watt. I can just route this inside of a BNC connector or a PL239 from the center conductor to the shield, and that would give me 2 watts. If I wanted a little more, I bought these 2 watt 100 ohm, so I can place these in parallel and get 50 ohm and get 4 watts. Two options. So let's go ahead and build one of these. I got rid of some audio equipment, and it had these pigtails, so I cut the pigtails off. But it has what I need here. I would just need to put this on the back end of it. Now there again, this is low voltage cable. I'm not so sure it's going to handle 5 watts. My other option, this is a Wi-Fi antenna. What we're going to do, see if we can't just twist that off. Actually, I kind of like the idea of this. What I want to do is solder one side of it down in this. I don't know if this will cut this or not. So I can solder one piece down in here, and I can solder the other to there. And amazingly enough, that soldering iron will attach. What I would need to do first is get some solder on this. I imagine that's a little bit hot right now. Very good. So let's go back and get the other side. And burn that just a little bit right there. So we'll put this back in there. Not foolish enough to touch it. So let's set this to 200 ohm. So 49 to 50, somewhere in that area, that'll work fine. Okay, option number 2. That's going to be at least 4 watt. 2 watts each resistor. It's going to mount very easily onto Now, needless to say, don't touch that. I'm not going to wrap that in anything. Maybe some hot glue like to seal it to the weather. You don't want condensation getting on it under any condition, but you wouldn't touch that while it was working. So here we go. This is 2 watt, 51 ohm. So I think this is an option. I'm wondering if this is an option. Okay, so I stripped this back. So I can take a 50 ohm resistor and do this, and then tie it to the end. So it's pretty much in line. You might want to go just a tad longer with this. I'll make this and I'll use it on a 1 watt and 2 watt systems. And if it stands up to that, that'd be good. I don't think that's going to be that long. When I look at this, the braid and the center conductor, so what I would do is wrap the braid around the bottom, solder that, wrap the center conductor around the top, solder that, and I've got a nice little setup here. I kind of like this. So let's solder it. I wish I kind of wrapped the braid a little better around that one, but so I can cut those off now. You just leave them there if you're not going to be soldering to them. Okay, I like this one just a tiny bit better because I could put shrink wrap over that. Now this one, I can't really put shrink wrap. I don't have something that big. I'd have to check, but that's also an option. Just a little bit of tape around this one would probably help. And a label would be good too. So let me find my shrink wrap. And it's got various sizes. Okay, I want to do this one first. So I've got to get something at least as big as the resistor to let it go on. Hope that takes care of it. There we go. Now that only goes up to there, so I can cut that off above that. Actually, I'll go a little bit more to try to seal that end. That's looking good. But I have an option here. For this one, I'm going to have to use tape. And I actually went and found the brightest tape I could find. I want to highlight this is something you shouldn't touch. Now obviously this is only going to be used in the ham shack, so there's no need to worry about sealing it to the weather. There you go, one very ugly dummy load. This one will look a little better. So I just picked this up, 1500 watt dual temperature heat gun. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's a little loose down at the top and bottom, but it only shrinks so much. I'm convinced I would burn that plastic before it melted anymore. Now around the components, it actually looks pretty good. It's a little tacky. So that's about all it's going to get. It did great around the cable, it did great up around these components, but it didn't close at the very top. The shrink wrap worked really well. I'd like to have a larger size, but don't blame them for that. Okay, so got that one done. So there we go. That one's ugly as hell. This one's a little nicer. It's going to keep some insulation from your hands. I don't know how much, but we'll give those a shot. So 3 different types. So if you like the videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.